How is it going? And thank you for tuning in this video. As you guys can tell by the title below, I'll be giving you guys my WrestleMania 41 live review as well as my entire week in Las Vegas experience. So without wasting any more time, let's go ahead and jump right into things. So of course, we gotta kick things off with the very first day, which was Thursday, April the 17th. I left bright and early for Vegas because I was driving there. The drive to Vegas is about 8 hours, but you know, given stops and traffic, it could be up to 8.5 to 9 hours. I believe I left around 5:45 in the morning, and I got to my destination a little around 2:30-ish in the afternoon. So yeah, almost a 9-hour drive, including stops and traffic and everything like that. But it was a very easy, very honestly pretty fast drive in terms of the time. I felt like it went by fairly quickly, so no complaints from me. I'm always for a nice road trip. I mean, I don't like driving that long in one go, but you know, you gotta do what you gotta do to get to WrestleMania, you know. Took that drive to my destination, which was to my hotel, which was the Caesars Palace. I had a phenomenal opportunity to be staying there, and I was very gracious enough to take the opportunity, and very happy to have had it. So very thankful for that. The host of where WrestleMania 9 was in 1993, actually every day where I walked by exactly where the site is. Right now, it's the pool of Caesars Palace. That's where WrestleMania 9 was held when it used to be a parking lot. So I walked by that every single day. I looked at it and couldn't help but think that, you know, hey, right there is WrestleMania 9 happened. So yeah, staying at Caesars Palace was awesome. Hilarious checking in and just seeing like the front desk and thinking of the Hangover scene. They walk in and check in, and you know, Alan's like, you know, this isn't the real Caesars Palace. Is it, you know, did Caesar stay here? And conveniently enough, there was someone at the front desk standing exactly like Alan too. I had that pointed out to me by my buddy Luke, and I thought that was absolutely hilarious. So yeah, I checked in, and then of course the very first thing I wanted to do when I'm at the Vegas, honestly, was go to the Superstore because I wanted to make sure I got the things I wanted to get. And of course, we went straight to the Superstore, and I'll go ahead and show you guys my entire haul. And as you guys can see right here, here's my bag of haul stuff. I do have some other things that are in the bag that just wouldn't fit. I'm just going to go ahead and show everything I got during the entire trip in this haul. Let's go ahead and just start taking things out of the bag. And one of the first things we got here, of course, is the John Cena WrestleMania hat. Of course, it says on the front, the final WrestleMania, you can't see me in the slots. Of course, rise above hate. Never give up. The last time is now. I might as well wear this hat in the video. Right there we go. I was gonna get a WrestleMania hat originally with the WrestleMania logo on it, but there are a few different ones that I did like. When it came down to it, I looked at this one and I was like, you know what, it says the final WrestleMania. I know it's part of the Vegas themed stuff, but since it said the final WrestleMania and, you know, kind of went, it was obviously a John Cena thing, I thought, you know, I'll just go with the John Cena hat. I decided it was more fitting to go with it since this is his last WrestleMania. And honestly, this is the reason I didn't even buy his shirt. I just got this from the John Cena merch for Vegas, just because it says, honestly, the final WrestleMania. If it didn't say the final WrestleMania on it, I wouldn't have got it. If it just would have just had like this logo on it, I just probably would have got a WrestleMania logo hat. But honestly, the final WrestleMania is what sold me onto it. And the next two items go hand in hand, courtesy of a gimmick that my buddy Ravi Assault Battery 777 started, you know, years ago, I think, for WrestleMania 27 when he went. Man, it's been, yeah, WrestleMania 41, and people are still doing it. Still a popular thing to do. But of course, I had to get the WrestleMania bear, which of course he is dressed as, you know, a dealer from a poker table. Got the WrestleMania kind of logo and, you know, spades and hearts in the back. Got, of course, the bear with the visor with the WrestleMania logo. Really like that detail, of course, with the visor. Little details like that I really enjoy. And then, of course, right here, we have the WrestleMania Cup cards, I guess you can say, for all the different wrestlers that were on the card. Which, funny enough, of course, where is he at? The Rock, of course, he's on here. And one person on here as well that I noticed on, you know, when I walked to the Superstore, because there's a big poster for her, was Becky Lynch. Way to tell people that she's going to be on the show, even though I'm pretty sure most people assume that anyways. But, of course, take the bear, put in the cup. There you go. Throw it on the shelf. You can see I got some right there. WrestleMania 31, 39. I definitely had to get the bear and the cup. We have one of the essentials for me, which is the WrestleMania program. Very nice program. Basic stuff, though. You just very basic photos. And, of course, you have your match card on there at some point. There we go. And then it has all the matches for WrestleMania. I like how Randy Orton just gets his home page because he didn't have an opponent, obviously. But yeah, has all the matches for WrestleMania. Then, you know, shows past WrestleMania highlights. And then on the other side, they actually have the NXT card for Stand and Deliver, which I was kind of surprised by. I don't know if how long they've been doing that. Maybe they could have been doing that since 39. I don't remember, but it was nice to see the NXT card. But of course, you have the Hall of Fame class on the other side, as well as the other Hall of Fame classes. And like I said, you have the NXT Stand and Deliver card as well. So yeah, program, always one of the essential items. Speaking of essential items, I can't go and not get the WrestleMania I Was There shirt. Of course, very basic though. You just have the front logo, and then on the back you have I Was There in the slots. I Was There WrestleMania 41, April 19th and 22nd, 2025. Like I said, very basic shirt, but always got to get them. And speaking I Was There, of course, I had to get the official match card or event shirt, I guess you can say, which has the main matches on there. Of course, the World Championship matches as well as the Triple Threat match as well. And then the back, very basic, I Was There. I wish they'd go back to putting the match card in the back of these shirts. I really liked when they did that. I know they have 2 nights and it's longer and it'd probably just be too much to put, but I don't know. I just really enjoyed when they had the matches listed on the back of the shirt instead of just, you know, I Was There in it. But nonetheless, I always enjoy getting the official event shirts. And speaking of the event, I got the official poster for the event right here, which they actually come in these nice poster tubes, which is very nice of them to put. But yeah, very basic poster, nothing too special for. I'm not going to unwrap it or anything because honestly I have nowhere to put it anytime soon, so I'm probably just gonna leave it in the tube for the time being. But I'll probably put a picture up of what the official poster, I mean, if you've seen the official WrestleMania Forum poster with Cena and Cody, this is exactly what it is. So nothing special about it, but nonetheless I was just glad to be able to grab it. And that was everything I got in my first run to the Superstore. Honestly, everything else, either they just didn't have my size, or honestly the selections weren't all that great. I feel like there's a whole bunch of repeats. I feel like even like the event stuff, like the Vegas theme stuff, wasn't all that great. It looked very basic and plain. Just, I don't know, I feel like the quality and just the way everything's presented, it's just going downhill. And that's a whole different conversation for itself. But I just felt like there wasn't anything that was like really sticking out to me in terms of like a Vegas exclusive, you know, type of WWE theme. There were some like cool merchandise stuff. Like there was like a set of playing cards, which I do have a SummerSlam set from when I went to SummerSlam 2021. But there were 2 different sets and I just didn't feel like I needed that. And I feel like the other 2 things, there were some dice that I did contemplate on getting, which I kind of, looking back, kind of wish I would have gotten just because that was like a Vegas themed thing that had, you know, like the WrestleMania logos on it. But I passed on that. But the one thing I did really like, but I didn't like what it was an ornament. It was an ornament and like a slot machine, but it had like the dates on it. Just, it was a really cool looking ornament, but I just didn't like that as an ornament. If it was anything else, like I would have gotten it, but I'm like, I'm not ever going to put it on a Christmas tree, and I just don't want to get it for the sake of getting it. So yeah, I just felt like the selection was just not as pleasing as I would like to have been. But for my wallet's sake, you know, I'm happy that I didn't get as much as I would have liked to have gotten. But going into now what I would have gotten stuff when I went to the Allegiant Superstore, which this is what I went to on Friday. But, you know, again, part of the haul, so I thought I'd just show the stuff I got there. I will say this, I thought the team store at Allegiant Stadium for the WrestleMania stuff way better. I thought just the store layout was better. I thought they actually had more selections than what they had at the Superstore, in my opinion. But it was just way more mellowed out because obviously all the traffic was going to the main Superstore. I don't think a lot of people knew about the Allegiant store. So that was my go-to, and I felt like that shop was just a lot more better. But in that store, I got 2 things. And in there, I got the John Cena versus Cody Rhodes official shirt right here. And in the back, you have all the stats and everything. Nothing special about the shirt. Honestly, all the match shirts sucked, but I only got this because, you know, Cena and Cody, and honestly, it was probably the only like decent looking one out of all the other match shirts they had, and it had all the stats in the back. I'm always a fan of when they had the stats in the back for the match shirts as well. I don't like if the honestly, if the Triple Threat men's one from night 1 had all their stats on it, I maybe would have gotten it, but it just had the WrestleMania logo and just, you know, like a kind of poster looking front for it, so I passed on that one. But yeah, Cena and Cody shirt was the only match graphic I got. And then the last item I bought was, of course, a hoodie. I always love getting hoodies, and this was no doubt one of them. Zip up, of course. You have the WrestleMania logo right there, and then on the back of it, they have WrestleMania 41. You got the little chip with the logo, World Wrestling Entertainment, and then even on the sleeve, you got WrestleMania Las Vegas. There's anything on the other one? No. Basic, you know, zip up hoodie right here. They had a handful of different ones though. There was all black one that had a different back to it, but I thought the back looked kind of ugly, to be perfectly honest. I like the color scheme on this one. I like the blue and the gold. it's better than this, you know, another basic black one to add. Definitely the best looking one in my opinion, so I definitely had to grab it. And this last item I got, I actually did not buy, as actually more handed to me, but I'll explain more about it once I get to that section of the video. And that, of course, it is the official WrestleMania Prime. As you can see right there, it has the WrestleMania 41 logo. I just covered it with WrestleMania 41 stuff on the bottle. I'm pretty sure the flavor of this too is just whatever the white bottle is. I think it's like New Moon or something like that, whatever the flavor is called. So nothing unique about the flavor of it, but bottle, definitely had to get it. I actually have another one that Audrey got, but she ended up giving it to me to give to one of my nieces that collects Prime bottles, because she actually likes Prime, so she'd be collecting bottles. So I gave her the other one to put for a collection. Later on the video, I'll explain more about the bottle situation, about how I got this. Essentially, that was everything that I did get in Vegas in terms of merch wise. That was my entire haul. I'm pleased with that. You know, it's funny because in my mind, I didn't get as much as I would have wanted, but I felt like I spent as much as I thought I was going to anyway. So it's like, it kind of is all worked out in my favor. But yeah, that was my entire haul of merch that I got in WrestleMania for Las Vegas. And to be perfectly honest, that was pretty much all of Thursday. After that, we pretty much relaxed, called in night, you know, settled in, because we knew we had a long weekend ahead. And that, of course, led into Friday, which we kind of slept in just, you know, because we knew we were going to have a longer weekend and we had more stuff planned, you know, towards, you know, the weekend instead. So Friday was kind of a chill. Took it easy, you know, in the morning, afternoon, going towards the evening, because the only thing really we had planned was going to SmackDown that night. So we obviously explored, went to the mall, you know, did our own thing. And then, like I mentioned in my haul video, I also went to the Allegiant Stadium. We took our first trip there to pretty much get an idea of how our journey was going to be going there for Saturday and Sunday. So we went to Allegiant, and then that's where I got my Cena shirt and then the zip up hoodie. And then, you know, Audrey was also able to get, you know, stuff she wanted as well. Well, she got the CM Punk Luck is for Loser shirt at the Superstore, and then at the Legion store, she ended up finding the CM Punk hoodie she really wanted. So she ended up getting that as well. So yeah, we took a trip there. Then we went, you know, back to the room, dropped that stuff up, did other things, and then that would lead us into SmackDown. So I'll try to go over everything as briefly as quickly as possible for SmackDown, and the same thing as Raw as well. When I go over Raw after Mania, I'll probably kind of try and go through that as quickly as possible as well. Going to SmackDown, honestly, we got to the show like with minutes before it started, so we didn't see anything that was taped beforehand, so I have no idea what happened before the official taping of SmackDown happened. So we got to SmackDown, we got to our seats, which were good seats. I enjoyed them. I thought we had a good view. T-Mobile Arena is one of those arenas where I feel like you could probably sit in the last row and you still have a decently good view of the ring. So no matter where you sat, to me, it looked like I had a good view of the ring. So we got to our seats just as the show was starting. Seth freaking Rollins comes out. Rollins cuts a promo. Great promo, you know, the crowd chanting OTC, CM Punk, and he responds to all of it. But since a lot of this stuff's irrelevant, I'm not going to go deep dive into it. It was just a great promo from Seth Rollins going into WrestleMania for his triple threat match. Then following that, we had the 2025 Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. It was fine for what it was, not much to it. Ray Phoenix eliminated Chad Gable, but then later on, El Grande eliminated Ray Phoenix. So I thought that was great revenge for El Grande to get for eliminating his buddy Chad Gable. So I thought that played nicely into the storyline. Final Four, actually, Phoenix was part of the Final Four, by the way. I forgot to mention that. The Final Four actually threw me off, or took me by surprise. It was Phoenix, Nakamura, Andrade, and Carmelo Hayes. But then it came down to Andrade and Carmelo Hayes, and these two went out there and had a really good like final 5 minutes just to themselves. Great callback to their best of 7 series they had towards the end of last year, and it played out, you know, towards here. And then of course Carmelo Hayes got the victory by eliminating Andrade to win the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. Happy for him. Whether or not they actually do anything with him going forward remains to be seen, but happy for Carmelo to get a, you know, big win like that. And then following that, we had Rhea Ripley to come out, cut a promo, which was interrupted by Bianca Belair and Io Sky. And then, you know, Naomi came out to confront Bianca Belair, and then Jade Cargill came out to take out Naomi. So huge brawl erupted. Io ended up doing a moonsault, take everybody out to the outside. Great promo. Just, you know, the whole like chaos of it definitely got me more hyped and intrigued for both those matchups going into WrestleMania. So yeah, that was a nice segment there. Then we had the Street Profits taking on the Motor City Machine Guns for the WWE Tag Team titles. I think the crowd was very kind of just tired from that segment beforehand with Rhea and everyone and all the women. So, you know, people really didn't care that much for this match. And the match was fine. There wasn't really much to it. And then, of course, ended with DIY coming out and attacking everybody, causing disqualification, which, you know, just was met with the whole Like, come on, really? Like a DQ ending. But yeah, that ended in a DQ with DIY running off the tag team titles. And then immediately afterwards, backstage, Nick Aldis demands the titles back and announces that next week, which was met with humongous boos because everyone was obviously hoping it maybe would have been a last-minute addition to Mania, but it wasn't. But next week on SmackDown, it'll be all three of those teams in a triple threat TLC match for the tag team titles. You're doing that on a SmackDown, but not at WrestleMania. Okay. All right, Triple H, I see what you're doing there, buddy. But yeah, nobody in the building liked that announcement. Everyone booed the shit out of that. So it was what it was. Can't change history and things now. So is what it is. And then we had Randy Orton coming out, cutting a promo, basically just saying, you know what, open challenge for WrestleMania. Anyone wants to come out. I don't care who it is. I don't care if it's someone in the crowd, fan, whoever. Anyone who wants me at WrestleMania, I'll be standing in the ring Sunday. Come get some. So that was the gist of Randy Orton's promo. And then after Orton's promo, we had Zelina Vega taking on Chelsea Green, which was originally supposed to be a 6-woman tag team match, but I don't know the reasoning why it got changed to a singles match. But the match was fine. Poor Zelina Vega. I feel like she's someone that no matter how hard she tries to like just, you know, stand out or just, you know, be a character, she's just gonna get no response, you know, and just people just don't seem to care for her. At least the live crowd, I've noticed. They just, every time I've seen her live, it's just almost like crickets when she comes out, and it's unfortunate. But I felt like she definitely did get a reaction towards the end, you know, especially with the victory. She ended up hitting a code red on Chelsea Green off the second rope for the 1-2-3. So Zelina Vega defeats Chelsea Green, probably get a title shot very soon, and maybe even win the title. Who knows? But yeah, Chelsea Green and Zelina Vega, no one cared for that. And then we had LA Knight come out cutting a promo talking about his match with Jacob Fatu, pretty much telling him that he's going to eat a BFT and then he's going to work out still US champion. That led to his match with Solo Sikoa, which was only a few minutes long before Jacob Fatu got involved, caused the DQ. Braun Strowman came out for the save. That led into a tag team match, and the match was fine. It's just Solo Sikoa is so fucking boring. I'm sorry. Some guy even like in my section was chanting same old shit. Solo, you are fucking boring. Like he was letting him have it. Not like he could have hurt us from, you know, the upper section, but I'm sorry, but Solo is just extremely boring and stale. I don't care to watch him ever. So it's a shame because I did see a lot in him when he was just like the, you know, the executioner for Roman Reigns, but now he's just, yeah, he's, I don't know. I don't see how he can redeem himself personally for me. But towards the end of it, LA Knight ended up getting the victory by hitting the BFT on Solo. So him and Strowman the victory. So not much to talk about there. And then we had a 6-man tag team match with Rey Mysterio, Dragon Lee, and Rey Fenix taking on American Made. The match was fine, but this is a prime example. Why have talent wrestle 24 hours before a match? Of course, this match is infamous because Rey Mysterio ended up getting injured. I will say, though, his team did get the victory. Rey Fenix ended up hitting a double knee Meteora on Julius Creed to get the victory for them. But at what cost? Rey Mysterio ended up getting a knee injury. He had to be carried out. We don't know the extent to his injury still, but obviously it was enough to hold him out of WrestleMania because he couldn't work WrestleMania the next night. So let this be a lesson be learned. Don't have talent wrestle right before a big show, especially considering they were Raw. Everyone in this match, besides Fenix, actually, were Raw talent. Why did they have to wrestle on SmackDown? There was no reason for it, which, by the way, I feel like almost everyone on the Raw on this show, like 90% of the show was Raw talent. There was no need for it. You could easily have the SmackDown talent that wasn't going to wrestle on WrestleMania wrestle on this card instead. You could have had those other people made appearances, but they did not have to wrestle. So let this be a lesson learned, hopefully, for the future that don't have these people wrestle before a big show. So Rey Mysterio is injured, like I said, at what cost? So let there be a lesson be learned. The final segment was John Cena's promo with Cody Rhodes. Well, it was John Cena promo that turned into a promo with Cody Rhodes, which another great segment from both men. You know, Cena was just laying in on Cody, but Cody was able to swing right back and hold his own and win the crowd back over. You know, crowd was booing Cody. They were cheering Cena, but then Cody won him back over. And that's the one thing I've noticed people bitch about by the way, with the crowd was that, oh, they hate Cody for no reason. I think people just more so want to see Cena win that 17th. I don't think it was anything against Cody. I think it's more so like we want to see Cena win that 17th, and unfortunately, you just happen to be the champion that he's facing. That's more so what I think it was. Because like I said, I don't think if people genuinely want to boo Cody, they wouldn't have flipped over and started cheering him when, you know, you win the crowd back over. So that's just my opinion on it. But But the segment was great. I thought it was a phenomenal way to, you know, get people hyped up for the match. It definitely really got me like a last minute excited for. I really got pumped for the match after that segment on SmackDown. And of course, it ended with, you know, Cody saying that you still can't wrestle. Cena tells him, I don't have to wrestle. I just got to, you know, beat you. And then he, you know, pokes him in the eye, goes for the AA, but Cody transitions that into a crossroads, leaves Cena down for the count, and not down for the count, but, you know, he was down, pretty much dead, it seemed like, and Cody stood tall going to WrestleMania. So that was the SmackDown WrestleMania, or WrestleMania SmackDown, whatever you want to call it. Overall, I thought the show was fun. I thought it was a very good SmackDown. I don't really watch SmackDown because I just hear how awful it is on USA in terms of like the constant commercials and censoring, so I try to kind of stay away from it and just see like the highlights and everything. But attending it live, I thought it was a very fun show. I thought it was really enjoyable. I wish we would have had more SmackDown talent on it than Raw, but you know what? For a final show and, you know, the first show of WrestleMania weekend for me, I thought it was a very fun SmackDown. And after that, our night did not end because Audrey and I actually went to Hell's Kitchen and had a phenomenal dinner. Phenomenal food, man. I took one bite of my filet mignon and I was like, oh, I thought I was in heaven. Mac and cheese was absolutely phenomenal as well. Phenomenal food at Hell's Kitchen, man. I always love Gordon Ramsay's stuff, but yeah, that was definitely worth going to, and definitely worth the price that we had to pay for the food there. But yeah, that was pretty much our night on Friday, because after that we pretty much just wrapped it up because we had a late dinner. We didn't go until I think 10:15 was the reservation, but that dinner definitely was a great way to close out the first full day in Vegas. And then we move on to Saturday, which honestly was just, again, kind of an exploring, just going out, just doing our own type of thing until WrestleMania, because WrestleMania started at 4 and we didn't have any plans for anything else until then. So we just, like I said, did our own thing, got a nice breakfast at Cafe Lola. That would lead us into going into Allegiant Stadium for WrestleMania. And, you know, it took the monorail. By the way, the monorail definitely came in handy in Vegas. So we got the 5-day pass and it definitely came in handy. I will say, unfortunately, it is a long walk to Allegiant Stadium from the monorail, but it definitely is worth it to me, because seeing all the people waiting at Allegiant for, you know, an Uber, it's definitely worth it just walking the monorail. And considering that it wasn't even packed. I mean, we got packed in there pretty good at one point, but like we never had to wait like a long period of time to get into a monorail. So it definitely was a lifesaver to use all weekend. So that definitely came in handy. But yeah, we got on the monorail, got to Allegiant Stadium. I want to say we got there like a little after 3, maybe more than that. I don't remember. I remember we had a good amount of time by the time we got there to before the actual show started. So we got there, and of course they were doing the whole kickoff show right in front of, you know, Allegiant Stadium. They had everyone sitting right there. They had fans all around. They had a big sign, "Welcome to Vegas WrestleMania" on it right in front of it. So they had a nice Prime truck. They had the C4. They had Minute Maid drinks. They had a whole bunch of stuff right in front of Allegiant Stadium. And originally I was gonna go to the Prime booth to see if they had the WrestleMania bottles, but when I went there, they were just handing out packets. So I'm like, all right, maybe I'll check again after the show to see if they had the bottles. So you know, we pretty much just ventured down that area to check out everything else. We got some of the Minute Maid drink, which I thought they were handing out the cans with WWE logos on it, which I don't know if they ever did or didn't. I just know when I went over there, they were just pouring drinks for samples. So we had, of course, one of those, which was absolutely phenomenal. Always loved Minute Maid drinks. And then, you know, eventually we took our time and ventured into Allegiant Stadium to get to our seats, because WrestleMania was starting at some point, and we wanted to make sure we got enough time to go in there, use the bathroom if we needed to, and then, of course, get our food before the show. And then that's exactly what we did. And then we got to our seats, which I thought were great. You know, I've been to Allegiant Stadium, like I mentioned before, for SummerSlam in 2021. So I already knew what to expect kind of view-wise. So I knew sitting in the upper section was not really going to be a bad view. And it wasn't at all. I still saw everything clearly. It didn't look far by any means. And I thought we had a great view for both nights of WrestleMania, because for Sunday, we just sat the section above where we sat for Saturday. So really wasn't much of a different view. But yeah, WrestleMania Saturday, we got to our seats. Everything was kicking off. You know, the commentaries came down. But then before the main show started, of course, we had none other than Jelly Roll sing the national anthem. I thought, I'm not going to lie, as soon as I saw him, they said Jelly Roll, I just started laughing. I don't know why, because I just think every time I see Jelly Roll or hear his name, I just think of Theo Von. You know, his impression of him doing a speech, I was like, I just want to thank. That's all I ever think about when I see Jelly Roll. It's just Theo Von's impersonation of him. But yeah, Jelly Roll sang the national anthem right before the main show started. And then we got into the show itself, which of course opened up with Triple H coming out and welcoming everybody to WrestleMania. And then they left the pyro going off, which I will say, Absolutely hilarious that they use fake pyro. Yes, I do know they use like real pyro, but the actual noise was fake pyro. Because I remember hearing going like, why does it sound so off? Like, it sounded so weird to me hearing the pyro go off. And yeah, it's because it wasn't real, you know? So it is what it is. You can only complain about so much, but it's like, out of all, if you're gonna have real pyro too, why fake the noise? I just didn't understand that part. But was what it was. Triple H opening WrestleMania. Not much to it besides that. And that leads into our opening match, which was for the World Heavyweight Championship. Gunther defending into Jey Uso. Everyone, including myself and Audrey, going yeet, yeet, yeet for Jey Uso. To the point where I had to stop because it just felt like it went on for like 10 minutes. I'm like, okay, like this is just a little too long now. I understand it's a WrestleMania. You know, everyone's going to have like a big, long entrance. But I'm not going to lie. As much as I don't dislike Jey Uso, I don't get annoyed with the yeet as much as other people do. But it does get to the point where it's like, all right, like can we like get on now? Like we can stop doing this. Can we get to what we're actually gonna say and do now at this point? So it did kind of get to that point to me. But like I said, it's WrestleMania. I was like, I understood him having a long entrance. Gunther comes out, you know, great heat. I thought he was getting bunch of boos, and I was cheering him too. I love my boy Gunther. But yeah, him and Jey Uso went out there, and I thought they had a very good match for the most part. You know, I thought, you know, it was kind of slow paced at the beginning. They're kind of filling each other out, not doing much. But I thought Jey Uso and Gunther went there and showed out. You know, Jey Uso, I don't want to say shut the critics up, because obviously the whole thing about Jey Uso is that all he does is throw super kicks, and I felt like he only did it towards the end of the match. He really didn't do it at all besides that. But yeah, like I said, it was a good match. Gunther went out to the outside, you know, try to walk it out, but Jey Uso wouldn't allow it. At one point, you know, Gunther grabbed the title, and when Jey went to dive, Gunther hit him with it. Gunther had a splash for a great near fall. Gunther went for the power bomb, hit it, but then Jey Uso kicked out. Went for a power bomb again, but Jey Uso countered into his own power bomb. Ended up hitting Gunther with some super kicks, followed by a Samoan drop. Then followed by not one, not two, but 3 Uso splashes. And then Jey Uso ends up locking him in a rear naked choke for the victory. And yeah, cements Gunther. Gunther immediately tapped out, which at first I was like, I wasn't too fond of it. But looking back at the match, I was starting to realize, you know, Jey Uso was doing a lot of Gunther's stuff. And of course, him being Gunther's own move, maybe Gunther got tired out. Maybe Gunther fears his own moves that much that he knows the damage that it can inflict on him. So that's why he gave up. I don't know. So I'm still not too keen on the immediate tap out like that. I'm not trying to sit there and justify it. But I'm trying to, you know, I guess try to make it okay to myself. Like, you know what? Maybe there was more to it than what it appeared to be. But yeah. Still not super high on, you know, Gunther tapping out, but Jey Uso defeats him, brand new World Heavyweight Champion. I personally don't have a problem with it. You know, I'm not really too sure where we go with Jey Uso with the World Championship going forward, but nonetheless, it was a great move for him. The crowd went crazy for it, which, by the way, I will say one thing about the crowd. I did notice one complaint was that the crowd seemed dead quiet, and I'll say this, and if you've ever been to a show and watched it back live, you know there's a clear difference between the audio picking up, you know, on TV versus live. It's always 10 times louder there than it comes across on TV. Even the loudest pops imaginable don't come close to how it sounds in person, right? So, and I'm not trying to sit there and blow smoke and act like the crowd was red hot the entire night. There were definitely times where it was like crickets were in the place, because I don't think the people either cared or they're just tired out for whatever happened previously. But people are saying like, oh, they didn't even cheer Jey Uso that loudly when he won. Oh, trust me, he got a huge pop when he won. That place went nuts when Jey Uso got the victory. So I don't want to hear everyone saying that, oh, he's not that over, he's losing steam. Nah, Jey Uso was tremendously over all weekend. Let me assure everybody of that. So, yeah, Jey Uso defeats Gunther, brand new World Heavyweight Champion. Like I said, I thought it was a really good match to kick things off for WrestleMania. Following that, we had the World Tag Team Championship match, the War Raiders defending against the New Day. I'll be completely honest, man. I don't really remember much from this match. I think this was one of those cases where the crowd was, you know, hot and, you know, on a high from that Jey Uso win. Now they're just kind of calming down and going, okay, I don't have energy for this match now. And I think that definitely was the case here. There were definitely some moments of reaction, like, you know, like some of the stuff the War Raiders would do, more specifically Ivar, like the cartwheel, like the big man moves, or like the, you know, like the springboards or whatever he would do. That would get the crowd reacting. But besides that, I really feel like there wasn't really much to it. I think at one point Ivar did a splash to the New Day onto like the barricade on the outside, you know, into the screen. But back in the ring, you know, Eric got taken out at one point, but then New Day ended up pinning their finish, which I believe is called Daylight. And then Kofi held Ivar's foot down under the rope as the referee counted the 1, 2, 3. New Day become the new World Tag Team Champions, defeating the War Raiders. Like I said, the match was just okay, I guess. I don't think it was bad or anything. I just don't really remember much from it besides really more so the ending. So New Day, brand new 13-time tag team champions. I believe Kofi Kingston's a 16-time tag team champion for his career. So crazy how many tag team titles Kofi's racked up over the years. But New Day, like I said, 13-time tag team champions. It's fine. I don't really care that they're champions, but I don't. I guess I just don't care. It's fine with me, to be honest. But yeah, like I said, the match was okay. Not much to say about it. And following that, we had Jade Cargill taking on Naomi. I like both entrances. You know, Naomi had a great entrance. You know, Jade with the weather forecast, that was pretty funny how that came about. And the match itself was good. It was solid. You know, it felt more like a TV match, but it definitely was a good showcase for Jade. Naomi was able to get her stuff in and look good. You know, at one point she was able to counter the Jaded from the second into a bulldog, which I thought looked great. Hit a split-legged moonsault for a great near fall. Even locked in the ring in Saturns on Jade. I thought Naomi looked great. Jade had a good showcase. You know, I thought she was able to look very smooth and really good with the stuff she was pulling off the tip up perfectly. She was able to do some nice kicks to Naomi. Did the great spot where she had him in the electric chair, and then, you know, she threw her up and reversed her and caught her into a power bomb, which of course I set up for Jaded. End up hitting Jaded on Naomi for the 1, 2, 3. So Jade Cargill gets the victory over Naomi. Like I said, I thought it was a good match. You know, it felt more like a TV match than anything else, but it doesn't take anything away from her. Like I said, I thought Jade had a really good performance, and Naomi definitely looked great in defeat, if you ask me. And next we had, which I thought honestly at this point was match of the night. I had the most fun with this match so far, which was going to be the United States Championship. LA Knight defending against Jacob Fatu. I wasn't expecting to enjoy this match as much as I did, but I had a lot of fun with it. You know, right from the early get-go, LA Knight tried to hit the BFT on Jacob, but Jacob got out of the way. I just thought everything they were trying to do, from the transitions to the counters to the spots, I just thought they gelled very well and had a pretty damn good chemistry. And yeah, like I said, honestly, this was my match tonight so far at this point. Like I said, this is a match I had the most fun with. It does rival the world title match. I would say, like, if you want to argue that the world title match is better, I won't argue it. You know, I could see it being on par with each other, honestly. But for some reason, I just felt like I had the slight edge enjoying this match just a tad bit more for some reason. Especially the big spot, of course, with Jacob Fatu going for the moonsault. LA Knight beautifully counters it into the BFT, man. It was like perfect the way they countered. He caught him perfectly. They did it perfectly. It was a phenomenal spot. But when LA Knight went for the pin, Jacob Fatu got his hand on the rope to, of course, stop the victory. But yeah, that was an awesome spot, and they had a really fun match. Towards the end, you know, Jacob Fatu ended up hitting a splash to the back of LA Knight, because LA Knight tried to do, you know, the spot where he grabs him on the top rope, but Fatu pushes him down, hits a splash in the back of him, gets him up into a Samoan drop, hits a moonsault, then follows up with another moonsault. 1, 2, 3. Jacob Fatu is your brand new United States champion. Very happy for him as well, man, because Jacob Fatu is a hometown boy here in Sacramento. My brother actually played football with him in high school, which is absolutely crazy. I actually went to high school and graduated with his brother, Journey Fatu. He was actually at WrestleCon, and you look him up, Journey Fatu. I went to high school and graduated with him. So, yeah, just crazy how, you know, all those Fatus just seem to be in the Bay Area here in California, or in Florida. That's usually where they're at, Bay Area or Florida. But yeah, Jacob Fatu become the brand new United States champion. Very happy for him, and hopefully he's in, you know, line for a dominant reign as champion. Then all of a sudden, we had a surprise announcement that WWE has bought and acquired AAA, which to me was just out of the blue. I thought that was very random. I've never heard any talks or anything like that to that extent of WWE even thinking about acquiring AAA. So, yeah, I don't really have much thoughts on it besides just being more surprised than anything. So we'll see how that works out, obviously. But yeah, obviously they're integrating that already, because the match preceding that announcement was originally supposed to be Rey Mysterio taking on El Grande Americano. Like I mentioned, on SmackDown, Rey Mysterio got injured in that match, so he was unfortunately not able to compete. He was pulled from this match and replaced with Rey Fenix. So El Grande Americano taking on Rey Fenix. And the match itself was fine. It wasn't much to it. You know, they were able to both get their stuff in. One thing I thought was funny was when El Grande put in the metal plate in his mask. And, you know, when Fenix tried to do the rope run followed by the kick, he did it to El Grande. But since he had the plate in, he hurt his right foot. But then El Grande Americano locks in the ankle lock on the left foot. So I was like, that that's not the correct foot there. Now, I don't know if they might have mentioned that on commentary, because I'm like, you know what? They could explain that maybe El Grande was trying to take out the healthy foot, so that way, you know, his right foot's injured. If he injures, you know, the left foot, the ankle lock, he won't be able to use either foot. So if they would explain that, I would have been fine with it. But as far as I know, he just grabbed the wrong foot, so that was kind of a thing. I was like, wish you would have either paid more attention or, you know, locked in the right foot. But that's a little nitpick for me personally. Fine match, not much to it. You know, Rey Fenix was able to get the upper hand, able to come back, end up going to the ropes, end up doing a dive, but El Grande ended up hitting a headbutt, took out Rey Fenix, went to the top rope, hit a diving headbutt, and then 1, 2, 3, El Grande Americano defeats Rey Fenix at WrestleMania. And of course, afterwards, as he was celebrating, he's kind of putting the beat down on Rey Fenix, and then that led to Vikingo. Yes, Vikingo, who's been on AEW notoriously a lot. You know, well, I don't know about how recently, but I know he's been on there at least a handful of times over the years. Was that ringside WrestleMania? They showed him, put a name graphic for him and everything, and got to the point where he jumped in the ring to help Rey Fenix fend off El Grande. So who knows? Well, maybe we'll see Vikingo used on WWE. Maybe Vikingo versus El Grande at you know, Worlds Collide or something, since that's obviously they're going to do a show in LA with NXT and AAA Worlds Collide. So who knows? Maybe we'll get that match there. But yeah, El Grande Americano defeats Rey Fenix. Like I said, it was a short match too. It was only like 6 or 7 minutes. I don't know why it was so short, but yeah, El Grande got the victory over Rey Fenix. And then out of the blue, here comes Shawn Michaels, the Heartbreak Kid, the Hall of Famer, coming out to announce the official WrestleMania attendance that night, which was 61,487. It was hilarious because when he was holding the card, he kept like holding the card outwards, and you just saw the biggest fucking number on the card. Like it filled, literally the number filled the entire card up. It wasn't like a small print on it that, you know, anyone could just read. It filled the entire card, so like everyone was able to read the number before he even announced it, which I thought was hilarious. But yeah, that was I just thought it was funny that the cue card, it was written so largely for him. But yeah, I'll never not pop for seeing Shawn Michaels on Indie Show. And then following the Heartbreak Kid, we had the WWE Women's Championship match, Tiffany Stratton defending against Charlotte Flair. This was a very odd match to me because I thought it was good, but it was like there were times where they were like, I don't want to say like they were like gelling, like, you know, they were like just clicking. But then there was times where it was just like sloppy. Then there was times where it's like a night and day difference where they were just on completely different spectrums, it seemed like. It was a weird match to see live. Like, this is one I'm definitely interested in watching back on, you know, like the televised version, just to see how I like it there. But yeah, I remember watching, just thinking like, this is a weird match. Like, I like it. I thought it was good for what it was still, even though I know this is like a controversial match, because I've seen it get like good reviews and I've seen it just get torn to shreds. I've already seen Meltzer's rating for it, so I already know how he feels about that match. But I don't know. I still personally enjoyed it for what it was, but there definitely were times where I'm like, what is going on? Like, it was just sloppy, choppy. It seemed like they were trying to sandbag each other at times, it seemed like. I don't know, but yeah, it was a weird match. There were some nice spots, I guess. You know, Charlotte hit the natural selection off the second rope or top rope, which I thought for sure, you know, I thought she was going to win at that moment there. Locked in the figure eight, which I was really hoping, you know, Tiffany wouldn't tap, and, you know, she didn't. But then towards the end, you know, Tiffany got the upper hand, ended up hitting, you know, Alabama slam into the corner, which looked very, very shitty, because I don't know if it was Charlotte's end or what. But just some stuff, like I said, I don't know if it was just they were trying to sabotage each other at times or what, but just some stuff just came off very shitty and looked very bad. And Tiffany ends up being the victory with the prettiest moonsault ever. Hits it on Charlotte, and surprised it gets the 1, 2, 3. Very, very surprised by that. I thought for sure Charlotte was going to win, even though I was really hoping Tiffany would win, just because I remember hearing, you know, the plan going into Mania was for Charlotte to have a, you know, lengthy title reign at some point. So I really thought Charlotte was going to get the victory here, but I'm very glad she didn't. Hopefully Tiffany has a longer reign going forward. I know she chipped her tooth too. I had no idea she even did that. I never noticed it on the Tron when I saw it or anything. I never noticed it till way after the show that she chipped her tooth. So Tiffany Stratton retains the WWE Women's title against Charlotte Flair. Definitely, you know, the right decision if you ask me. But like I said, just a very strange match. And then after that championship match, we had the 2025 Hall of Fame class come out and, of course, be introduced to the crowd. At first, I was very confused why Lex Luger was not shown or was not on the stage, because he was shown in the video package, but there was no acknowledgement from him not even being there. So I thought that was very strange, and I know he's addressed it since then and said that, you know, he just wasn't feeling well that day and he just couldn't get himself to get out of bed to do it. So I understand those health reasons why he didn't show up, but they still could have acknowledged him in a way. They still could have said, you know, unfortunately, Lex Luger was not able to attend, but, you know, he was still part of the class, instead of just not even acknowledging him on the stage or anything. So I just thought that was very odd of them to do. Yeah, just your typical Hall of Fame inductees standing on the stage to greet the crowd. And then, of course, we go to the main event of WrestleMania Saturday, which was a triple threat match. CM Punk versus Roman Reigns versus Seth Rollins. I'll say this, man, all entrances were great. You know, Seth Rollins coming out to a dark theme, and then, you know, it goes black, and then the spotlight's on him, and he's all white and everything. I thought that was a great entrance. Roman Reigns came out, you know, finally some new gloves and everything. He's been wearing the freaking red glove forever, it seems like. So I'm glad he was finally able to change that. And CM Punk, man, I will say this, by far best entrance. That hype video package beforehand with This Fire Burns, dude, live, that was incredible. I got chills. I was getting fired the fuck up watching that thing. I was singing along with the song. It was incredible, followed by a phenomenal entrance from CM Punk and Paul Heyman. You know, Living Color was there to perform Cult Personality live. It was all awesome. I was very much enjoying it all. I was loving it. And it all led to an awesome main event. This was an incredible match. Obviously, it was very storyline driven heavy. That was the whole match, but it absolutely worked. It had everyone the edge of their seat. It had everyone emotionally invested and involved. It was a hell of a match with a lot of phenomenal transitions and counters, a lot of amazing spots, you know, like when Roman Reigns had Seth Rollins in the guillotine, then CM Punk hit him with the stomp out of nowhere. Or my favorite spot towards the end of the match, I know I'm probably gonna be all over the match, but I'm just naming whatever comes in my head first, to be perfectly honest. The spot where CM Punk hits the GTS on Seth Rollins, but then as Rollins is falling back, Roman Reigns hits a spear on CM Punk, but as he's going down with the spear, Seth Rollins is, you know, coming back from the ropes and hits a stomp on Roman Reigns after he speared CM Punk. That was an awesome spot right there. Absolutely loved it. And of course, on the outside, you know, Seth Rollins is trying to talk Roman Reigns into giving CM Punk a powerbomb to the table, the Shield powerbomb, and then Roman Reigns like, you know what? Let's do it. Let's freaking do it. And then Roman Reigns was hyping everyone up to do the ooh, ah. But before he does that, he freaking uppercuts Seth Rollins, says, fuck you, I'm going to do it myself. Powerbombs CM Punk himself to the table. But he's like, you know what? Fuck you too, Seth. Powerbomb Seth through the Spanish announce table just to put his dominance and to assert his dominance. And I thought that was a great spot. And yeah, everything was just a lot of fun, man. This was a hell of a match. Towards the end, you know, Heyman introduced a steel chair. Seth Rollins is out. You know, Reigns and Punk were kind of like, hey, give me the chair. And then Heyman slides it to CM Punk. And that means, oh, man, he's sliding with CM Punk. But as CM Punk has a chair, as it hit Roman, boom, low blow to CM Punk by Paul Heyman. Roman Reigns is loving it. Paul Heyman says, here you go, my tribal chief. Reigns just beats the shit out of Punk with the chair. You know, he's like, he's the best. And then Seth Rollins crawls back in the ring. He's like, all right, here we go again. Just like you did to me, buddy. But what does Paul Heyman do? Low blow to the tribal chief, Roman Reigns. Everyone just goes, oh! And then, of course, everyone's losing their minds. Seth Rollins just stands there, puts his hand out. Paul Heyman puts a chair in his hands, beats down Roman Reigns, hits a stomp. 1, 2, 3. Seth freaking Rollins wins the main event of WrestleMania 41 Saturday. It's funny to me because WrestleMania 31 10 years ago, my first WrestleMania, ends with Seth Rollins pinning Roman Reigns. 10 years later, WrestleMania 41, I see Seth Rollins pin Roman Reigns once again in the main event of WrestleMania. No matter how much time changes, some things just stay the same. But yeah, that was an awesome way to end WrestleMania. The crowd was just going crazy. You know, Rollins is getting that heat. You know, Heyman praising Rollins. Absolutely berserk way to end the show. And definitely was, everyone was going crazy. Everyone was definitely riled up after that. And definitely was, like I said, an amazing main event to end, which I thought overall was a good WrestleMania. Now, I will say this. Did this feel like a WrestleMania show? No, it didn't feel like a WrestleMania, to be perfectly honest. It was really kind of a mid-card heavy card, in my opinion, with some main event talent sprinkled in. Mainly, like, the opening match, the middle match, and the main event. That was, like, where the stars were sprinkled in, it seemed like. And then, you know, like, the mid-card talent was filling the rest of the show, it seemed like. But overall, I didn't think it was a bad WrestleMania. I thought it was still a good show, solid. You know, if I had to give it a rating out of 10, honestly, I'd probably give it like a 7. Like, I don't think it was bad by any means. Do I think this will be a standout show, you know, for years to come? Outside the main event, no. I think the main event will definitely be talked about. But besides that, I think, you know, this will be known for, like, little things. Like, you know, Jey Uso winning the championship. Jacob Fatu winning the U.S. title. You know, stuff like that. You know, that's what will be really what's more notarized this show to be for, in my opinion. So, not so much for the quality, but just more for the events that happen on it. Your WrestleMania Saturday ends with Seth Rollins, like I said, winning. Overall, like I said, damn good show. Definitely was a damn good way to, you know, kick things off going into Sunday, in my opinion. And then afterwards, it was kind of a calm down period for me because obviously it was a huge sea of people trying to leave the arena. So I was kind of like, you know what? Let me go back to the Prime truck to see if anything. But I just saw so many people around, like, every area. I was like, you know what? It's probably nothing. I'm just going to go back to the monorail and just call it a night. I'll worry about this stuff tomorrow if I see anything. But of course, on the walk back, what do I see? Some fucking dude with the whole case of WrestleMania Prime. Another dude next to him with another fucking case. And the dude with them has just one in his hand. So I'm like, okay, so obviously they have WrestleMania Prime. So I figured I'll try again tomorrow. If they were handing them out, because at this point, I'm well out of Allegiant. I'm like, at least, you know, 10 minutes past the stadium. So I'm like, I'm not going to go back and go get it. It's not worth the walk back. They'll have it tomorrow, I'm sure, after the show. So I'll try and get it after the show. So, and once we got back, it was a pretty chill night. You know, we pretty much just took it easy, did our own thing again, you know, kind of relaxed. And, you know, we knew we had a pretty early morning. Well, not early morning, but we knew we had to, you know, things in the morning. So we didn't want to stay up that late. So yeah, it was a pretty relaxing night for Saturday after WrestleMania for us. And then we go into a Sunday. Sunday definitely was the most filled day in terms of, like, planned stuff. I mean, I'm not going to sit there and act like we had 20 things planned, but in terms of, like, things we did, you know, we had our schedule full from, you know, the morning up until WrestleMania was over pretty much. So Sunday we had a very nice brunch. I forgot what it was called, the something buffet. She's gonna get on me for not knowing the name of it, but we had a very nice seafood brunch at Caesars, which was very, very nice. We had that up until we had to go to WWE World that afternoon, essentially. Well, WWE World is, unlike Access, you can actually go in and out whenever you want, which I'll go off in WWE World in a second, or more so Fanatics. Once you got a wristband, you can go in and out as often you'd like. So that was the convenience. But since we didn't have to be there by a certain time outside of the person I was going to meet, we had all the time to get there. So we had our brunch, and then after that, we headed to WWE World. And this, of course, right here was the bracelet that I had for WWE World on Sunday. It's a pink one. I don't know what the colors were for the other days, but you know, it's funny. I saw it happen outside of the convention center where people were just ripping them off and, like, asking people as they're going in, like, hey, you want my wristband? Like, because all you had to do was tape it back on. Like, if you cut it perfectly, all you do is tape it and you wouldn't have noticed it was cut. So I literally saw people as I was walking out of the center, like, giving their bracelets to other people to use. So it's cool to see fans, like, being that generous. You know, I'm like, hey, I'm not going to have use for it. If you don't have a ticket, I'll give you mine. You know, kind of a nice little thing. But it's just funny how easy it is to get around. Like, they do these things and make sure, like, oh, make sure people with bracelets get in only, but you get them bracelets you can just easily cut off and just tape together because you're not inspecting them or anything. So, and the reason we were heading to WWE World was because we were going to meet none other than the best in the world himself, CM Punk, the man that this channel is on. The actual name of this channel is called WWE Punk Fan 19. That is the official name of this channel. And all these years later, finally got the opportunity to meet him. And I will say this, I struck gold getting a ticket to meet him. I'll explain everything. First off, Fanatics can go fuck themselves. Anyone that deals with them will probably tell you that. They're absolutely horrible service. I just do not like Fanatics. And the way they handled everything, they lied to you every step of the way. It was just horrendous customer service. All around. Horrendous customer service from Fanatics. So originally when all of these VIP photos went on sale, like at the beginning of March or whatever it was, you get into the queue. And you'd think queue system is first come, first serve. Whoever gets in the queue, that's how the system goes, right? You get into a line. Nope. Their queue system is completely fucking random. They just pull in random fucking people. So if I got into the queue an hour before somebody, that didn't matter. Someone could get into the queue 5 minutes after the queue started and get in before me still. Their system was just ridiculous the way it started. So when their initial queue system happened, it took me 30 minutes to get into their system. And once I got in there, of course, the one ticket I was trying to get was a CM Punk photo op. Was sold out. So I'm like, okay, I waited 30 minutes to get nothing. And throughout the weeks, randomly would they restock tickets. No notice. It was just all of a sudden people would post, oh, restock of tickets. So I'm like, fuck. Week of, I'm talking Monday. Was this Monday or Tuesday? Monday of Tuesday last week. I'm talking like the 14th or 15th. I think it was Tuesday, actually. I just randomly happened to check because I have the tab saved. There's, you know, the Punk section where his ticket's at. I have it saved, or I just refresh from time to time just to check it randomly, right? I check it once and it says sold out. For some reason, I have the urge, let me refresh the page, right? I press refresh. I see add to cart for photo op. When I say my jaw dropped and I just fucking clicked it and I'm like shaking, putting my information in, I was shaking everything because I was hearing stories of how people got stuff, but as they're putting their information in for checkout and they press process, I said, oh, sorry, sold out. So people's stuff were selling out while I was in their cart. So I was really fearful it was going to happen. But thankfully, no, I was able to get it very easily. And then I immediately went back to his page just out of curiosity to check. And it once again said sold out. So I lucked the fuck out. Like, I literally checked when they restocked everybody. Because I went back to check everyone else's page. Everyone else was restocked again. Everyone was available. Cody and Punk were the only ones sold out again when I was checking at that time. Cena, everybody had tickets again. I could have gotten Cena, by the way. I almost got John Cena, but I didn't want to pay almost $500 for everything. To get a ticket for him and ticket for the WWE World that day to meet him. So, didn't end up doing that. But yeah, the whole process of getting the ticket was just bullshit. Which, by the way, they like the lying. Like, they said you had to have a ticket already purchased before buying a VIP. They made it sound like they were going to verify it. You didn't have to. You didn't have to do any of that. They said they were never going to restock tickets once they were sold out. Initially, they were sold out. They restocked them. So, Fanatics, you guys fucking suck. And you ruined fucking WWE World, by the way. WWE World, unless you are meeting somebody, don't fucking go. There's absolutely nothing to do. I'm telling you, when we got there, there was more open space than, like, anything. There was, like, a few exhibits, and then there was, like, the Superstar row, and then, like, the photo ops in the back where you met people, and like, the autograph area. Besides that, bare bones, nothing to fucking do at WWE World. Very, very lame. And it's obviously such, like, every perk of access, like, Fanatics just took it and just took its soul out. Like, it's just, I understand everything's about money nowadays. I understand everything's always been about money with businesses, but when you took the fun and what made people enjoy it and you monetize it and you give people less of their value too for it, it just makes people not want to go. And like I said, unless you're going to meet somebody, do not go to WWE World. There's nothing to do. It's all open area. It's bare bones. Like, there's more standing open space than anything else. So much open room. There's no reason to go unless you have a VIP ticket to meet somebody. So that's my little rant on WWE World and Fanatics. Just very disappointed to see what used to be access and how you could spend your entire day there. Hours. Where WWE World, you can walk around the entire place in 10 minutes. Probably less time than that. And that's if you go through, like, the exhibits and do the Superstar entrance thing and stuff like that. So, yeah. WWE World, big fucking thumbs down. Big fucking doom from the Costco guys. It was a boom. It was a big doom. But I went there for one purpose only. And like I said, that was to meet CM Punk. And of course, we got into his line. Even though we had group 2, no organization. They just said, anyone who has a fucking ticket, just get into the lines. Like, we're not grouping you guys up. Just get into a line. But it was very quickly. We're only waiting maybe 30 minutes, if that, because we did get into the line like right when our group was starting. So it was like 1:40 was our group. So we got there and it was like almost a little after 2. Maybe like 2:10 after we met him and everything. So very, very brief. But yeah, you go up there, they get you in line, they get you the photo, and very, very fucking brief, man. Like, I understand you're trying to get people through, but for the money they're charging people, you're trying to get them, like, a 2-second interaction. That's just, I don't know, man. Like, I literally have seen people as security guards, like, yelling at not only the fan, but the wrestler, too, for the wrestler taking time with the fan. Like, I don't know. Like I said, you're taking the soul. Like, I understand The Rock, you know, give me your soul. But, like, TKO really, like, did tell WWE, give me your soul. And they did. And everything is just soulless now. So, yeah. But my experience with Punk, I'll tell you exactly how it went. We went up there. When it was our turn, you know, they asked how many people were in your group. Told them it was 2. It was me and Audrey. We went up there, you know, gave him a fist bump because that's what he was doing, fist bumps. They were very specific, too, that, hey, no touching, no grabbing, nothing. I'm pretty sure, or our theory, not just me and Audrey's, we're pretty sure someone took it upon themselves and maybe were a little too touchy and grabby with him. And he was like, no, what? No one fucking touching me after that. So we're pretty sure one person ruined it for everybody. But yeah, I went up there, just gave him quick fist bumps. You know, I told him, you know, hey, congratulations on the main event. He said, hey, bud, you know, he thanked me for it. And took the picture real quick, you know, and then Audrey was able to give him the bracelet that, you know, she wanted to give to him. Gave it to him. He was, you know, appreciative of it and put it on right away, which was nice. And we walked away. The whole interaction from the moment we walked up to him to the photo taking to the moment we left, maybe 10, if I'm lucky, 15 seconds. Very, very, very brief. Very brief. Like I said, for the money people are paying for these photos, you think you get a little bit more, but no. Fenix just wants that money. We all thought Vince was the money-hungry motherfucker, but man, it's no, TKO and Fenix, they're the ones, man. That was that, you know. Then afterwards, you walk to the back to a little area where they had the photos printing. They give you your photo, and as you're walking out, they actually have a barcode on the photo. They scan that, and then that way they email your photo from that. So I do have the photo. It's already on my wall. I'm not gonna in frame, so I'm not gonna show it. I'll show the picture of with Punk, so I don't need to really show it off or anything. It's the same thing. But yeah, very happy to finally have met him. You know, I've been wanting to meet him for years, but finally did so. Very brief, but it was definitely that worth it. But yeah, after that, that's when we kind of just walked around WWE World to just see what was available, because we're trying to get to Legion Stadium before WrestleMania, so I really wanted to kind of just walk around and see what we could see real quick before we left. You know, we did the whole shark cage gimmick, and then we walked around, you know, Hall of Fame displays, and then they had the thank you Cena wall in the back that you could sign, and I signed it, of course. But yeah, besides, like I said, there really wasn't much else to it. You know, there were a few things to take pictures in front of, but besides that, very bare. So after like maybe 10 minutes of walking around, like I said, we just said there's nothing to do. Let's just go straight to Mania, because, you know, we didn't have time to go to the room. You know, because like I said, we're taking the monorail, and of course, where Convention Center is at and where Legion Stadium's at, literally complete opposite sides. So there was no time to go back to the room and leave stuff. I just took it into the stadium with us because I had the clear bag. So it didn't matter. So we went to Legion Stadium for WrestleMania Sunday. Of course, you know, we got there a little after 3. We got there later than we did on Saturday for sure, just because of, you know, going to WWE World and taking the monorail and everything, and the 30-minute walk to get there on top of it and everything. So actually, it might have been closer to 3:30 once we got there, because I remember I wasn't rushing, but we got there like maybe like 10 minutes before the show started. So we got into Legion. We realized there was a WrestleMania cookie that we wanted to get, so we ended up getting a WrestleMania cookie with the logo on it, which was very, very good. That cookie was absolutely delicious. Very good stuff. But yeah, we got that, went to our seats, which was, like I said, for my review of Saturday, was a section right above. I had 316 for Saturday, and for this I had 416, like row 4. So it was literally just right above it, like, because I had the, like, towards the back row, the last few rows of 316. So literally it was like just a few rows above what I had the night before. So really was not much of a difference in scenery whatsoever. So yeah, great overview of everything. Great seats, in my opinion, for what they were. And then, yeah, of course, that kicked off a WrestleMania Sunday we had. I forgot what her name was. Someone sang the national anthem. Again, I apologize. I just don't remember what her name was. I had no idea who even was, so that's why I don't remember. But yeah, national anthem, that led into the main show, which opened up with Stephanie McMahon welcoming all us to WrestleMania 41. Pretty much the same ordeal as Triple H, and as my good buddy Pico pretty much pointed out, which I met up with him after this show, but I thought I'd mention it, you know, since Stephanie's opening. He pretty much said, hey, they probably wanted Hunter and Stephanie to open the show, so that way they can replace those Vince clips with the Welcome to WrestleMania with Triple H and Stephanie instead. So That's probably what the background theory was for that, or the purpose was, to be perfectly honest. Stephanie welcomes everyone to WrestleMania, and then we go to our opening match, which was the triple threat match for the Women's World Championship. Io Sky defending against Bianca Belair and Rhea Ripley. This was another incredible triple threat match, and honestly, you could probably say it was the better of the two triple threat matches of the weekend, and probably match of the weekend as well, and I wouldn't argue it. This was an incredible match. Now, in terms of in-the-ring wise, this probably was a better triple threat than the men's one from the night before. You know, definitely in terms of in-ring perspective, in my opinion. So, yeah, this was just all over the place. All women were doing phenomenal counters. You know, at one point, Rhea Ripley gave Io the Razor's Edge into Bianca. Just great movements where, like, Rhea was just hammering Io in the corner, and Bianca would, like, grab her and try to hit the KOD on her. Just a lot of great, you know, transitions and stuff. A lot of great just where everyone was kind of just, you know, locking each other in submissions, where Rhea both had them into the, I forgot what her submissions called, but had them both in that at one point. Just incredible in-ring action from all three women here. And I know this match, like, people are like, this proved this should have been main event, and I'm not going to argue it, man. This match definitely could have been a main event easily, and no arguments from here. Just insanely fun match, and the finish was even better. Bianca going for the KOD on Rhea, but as she's pinning her, Io comes out of nowhere with the moonsault onto both women, pinning Bianca Belair for the 1, 2, 3. Io Sky walks out still the Women's World Champion. Absolutely, everyone nuts for Io. Everyone was very behind Io for the most part. I mean, Rhea, they all got good. Okay, obviously, Bianca got booed. I don't know what the deal was. I don't know if people just think she's being a heel or what the case is really with her. I don't understand it, because I guess she kind of has been acting like a heel, but it's like she hasn't been wrong with what she's saying. So I don't understand really what the problem is with her, but she was getting booed. She had a good entrance. I liked her stuff with, you know, all the other girls in her entrance. She always has great entrances at WrestleMania. Bianca has never swung and missed at WrestleMania with her entrances, or just in general at WrestleMania. She's always had good matches as well. Yeah, this was, like I said, an amazing, incredible triple threat match. Very happy Io Sky walked out still the Women's World Champion. And, yeah, an incredible way to kick things off for WrestleMania Sunday. Following that, we had the Sin City street fight between Drew McIntyre and Damian Priest. Another great match here, man. This even kind of surpassed my expectations. I thought it'd be a good match, but these two went out there and really beat the holy hell out of each other. A lot of great spots. You know, they got the table involved. Drew McIntyre hit a, you know, Future Shock DDT onto the steel steps. Damian Priest, you know, countered the Claymore into a slice of heaven for a great near fall. At one point, you know, some tables introduced where McIntyre knocked Priest through 2 tables. Then once he brought him back into the ring, there was a chair at one point that was lodged into in between the ropes that I believe Priest put there earlier. But then McIntyre was able to, you know, drag him into the ring from that table spot, put his head right there, ran in the corner, Claymore his face into the corner, right into that chair, and pinned Damian Priest. 1, 2, 3. Drew McIntyre is your winner of the street fight. Definitely was the right decision, in my opinion, for McIntyre to win. He definitely should have won, in my opinion, so I'm glad he did. But yeah, him and Priest went out there and had a great street fight. I really, like I said, was kind of surpassed my expectations. I thought it'd, you know, be a fun match, but I was really surprised, you know, how much of a fun match they went out there and had. So, like I said, glad McIntyre got the win. He definitely should have, and definitely was a great match. And then next, we had the Fatal 4-Way match for the Intercontinental Championship. Braun Breaker defending against Penta, Dominik Mysterio, and Finn Bálor. This was another hell of a great match, man. Like, so far, like, WrestleMania Sunday at this point has just been incredible. You know, all 4 men had some great spots. You know, at one point, you know, Dom and Bálor were trying to suplex Breaker, but Breaker ended up doing a, you know, reverse double suplex on both of them. At one point, you know, Dom finally was able to get the courage to hit a 619 on Finn Bálor, but when he went for the kick, or the 619, you know, Bálor grabbed him, was like, what the fuck are you doing, bro? And then dragged him in and just started stomping like crazy on him, which I thought was hilarious. There were a handful of times where Penta almost got the victory, you know, hit the Mexican driver on Dom, but when he went to pin, Carlito got the foot on the rope for Dom, which, you know, led to a brawl at ringside. You know, at one point, Carlito was clearing the tables after he screwed Bron, because Bron actually did have the victory. He had a spear on, I believe, Bálor. I don't remember who he had a pin on, but he had pretty much the win secured, but then Carlito dragged the referee out, but then Breaker on the outside speared Carlito to the table. You know, Carlito was standing on one table, Breaker standing on the other, freaking just leaped from the other announce table and speared him through the one Carlito was standing on. Awesome spot right there. But back in the ring, the action all came back down to it. Finn Bálor was able with the coup de grace onto Bron Breakker. But as he's going for the pin, Dominik Mysterio out of nowhere, Dirty Dom, out of nowhere with the frog splash on both men, pinning Finn Bálor for the 1, 2, 3. Dirty Dominik Mysterio is the winner and brand new Intercontinental Champion. Obviously, very, very, very over. The crowd was very much behind Dominik Mysterio for this entire match. I was very happy for him. Yeah, one hell of a crowd, one hell of a time. Very happy for Dom, you know. Great moment, especially with him running, you know, back down the ramp to do a celebration again because the crowd was so like, hey, we want you back. We're happy for you. Definitely was a great moment for Dom. So great Fatal 4-Way match. Very fun match there. And like I said, the show at this point was, I saw people saying it too, man. It was looking like an all-timer. It was looking like an all-timer. But unfortunately, you know, I'm not going to sit there and say the ship sunk, but it kind of, the quality definitely took a dip after the Fatal 4, in my opinion. But preceding that, we have Randy Orton coming out for his open challenge, saying anybody can come out. Obviously, Randy Orton was supposed to face Kevin Owens, but due to Kevin Owens' neck injury, obviously he wasn't able to compete. So that led to not knowing who Randy Orton was going to face. And Randy Orton was in the ring and said, hey, somebody, anybody, let's do this. And who but none other than Joe Hendry, the TNA World Champion, Joe Hendry. Say his name and he appears, comes out, dances the challenge. And when I tell you my jaw dropped, my jaw was on the freaking stadium floor from where I was at. I was in the 400s. It was on the stadium floor from where I was sitting. I cannot believe it. You could have gave me 500 guesses. He would have never been any of them for Randy Orton's opponent. So Joe Hendry comes out, faces Randy Orton. It's a very quick match. It's like a 3-minute match. You know, Orton gets his stuff in. Hendry gets a few moves in. Does this spot where, you know, does the turnaround and stares at the camera. But then as he's doing that, literally out of nowhere, Randy Orton hits an RKO. Like, Joe Hendry doesn't even take his eyes off the camera. He's staring directly in the camera, and Orton just, boom, as he's staring into the camera still. I thought it was great. Orton RKOs him. 1, 2, 3. Randy Orton defeats Joe Hendry. Good for Joe Hendry. I know the way people looked at it is, well, the TNA World Champion lost in minutes to Randy Orton. Way to make the company look bad. I get that perspective, but at the same time, the TNA World Champion just wrestled at WrestleMania for the very first time. You know, like, who's really going to care? You know, it was what it was. I guess I wasn't expecting anything extraordinary. You know, I honestly didn't know who was even going to face Orton. I thought Rusev was the only other option, really, unless, like, Sami Zayn or someone came out. But yeah, Joe Hendry, and allegedly, you know, Orton handpicked him for the match, so I can't sit there and argue how stupid it was, because if Orton picked him himself, then, you know, take it up with him, I guess. So, yeah. You know, there's nothing to complain about, but nothing really to say about it. But the crowd, I will say, the crowd did lose their fucking minds for Joe Hendry. Humongous pop for him. Everyone lost their minds for Joe Hendry, so I will say that. And following that match, we had AJ Styles taking on Logan Paul, and I will be completely honest, I have zero memory of this match, besides I know Logan Paul hit a Styles clash on AJ, and then the finish of the match. That's honestly all I remember. I mean, I remember, like, being like, this match is fine, it's good, but nothing stands out. I think the crowd was just, this is one of those periods where the crowd just did not really care. I think they were happy for AJ, but they just didn't care for the match. But I will say, Logan did have a cool entrance with the drone camera coming out and the camera kind of flying away and then him going back to it mid-match. I did like that stuff to it. But yeah, besides that, I don't remember anything. I just remember his assistant or one of his, I don't know, team brand guys, whatever, Jeff, was trying to throw Nux in, but then Karrion Kross comes out of the fucking blue and stops him. AJ comes out, you know, throws him in the barricade, but then Karrion Kross is trying to convince AJ to use a Nux. But AJ is like, nah, fuck you. Then punches Karrion Kross. Then tries to go for the elbow on, or front on forearm on Logan Paul. Paul ducks it, hits him with the, you know, the punch, followed by the pulverizer for the 1, 2, 3. Logan Paul defeats AJ Styles. Like, I'm not really mad at it, but like, I'm just more upset because AJ Styles hasn't won at WrestleMania since 37. Well, he hasn't had a singles win at WrestleMania since 35. So I'm like, I thought this is going to be an easy win for AJ at WrestleMania. So it's like, oh, just another fucking loss for AJ Styles. That's nice. That's really more what I was more upset about than anything. I don't really care that Logan won. Like, it is what it is. Like, I'm not going to get mad about it. But, yeah, I was just more upset because I really thought it was an easy victory for AJ at Mania. But, yeah, just another WrestleMania loss to a very weird fucking WrestleMania resume that AJ Styles has. And then we had a video package for WWE Unreal on Netflix where they're pretty much going to show everything. They're going to show the writer's room. They're going to show how they come up with ideas. They're showing everything. Which part of me is like, you know what? I know I'm going to find that stuff fascinating. But at the same time, stuff like that should be behind closed doors, in my opinion. Let us hear stories about this shit. Don't actually show us what's going to happen. So, I don't know. I feel like I don't mind, you know, peeling the curtain back a little bit. They're just fully opening the whole curtain. Like, it's wide open at this point, it seems like. So, they're getting way too focused on making it a spectacle than anything else. And they got to realize the more exposing of it, you're not like gaining street cred. People aren't going to think you guys are more cool because of the way you're doing it. You're just going to make it be like, okay, now you're really telling me more about how fake this is. So I don't know. Like I said, I know I'll find it fascinating, but we'll see how that all plays out. And then we go to the WWE Women's Tag Team Championship match. Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez defending against what was supposed to be Lyra Valkyria and Bayley. But, of course, the night or the day before, Bayley got taken out. Then they did a whole angle where Lyra has a final partner. And I'll be completely honest. At first, I was like, I honestly have no idea who the hell that's going to be. But then on the monorail back home from WrestleMania, or back to the room back from WrestleMania the night before, I overheard someone saying, like, oh, yeah, Becky's going to come back. You know, it was going to be her partner, obviously, because, you know, her last we saw Becky, she was with Lyra, kind of. And then Liv Morgan was the last person to take her out. So it makes perfect sense. And I was like, oh, wow. When I heard that, I'm like, I felt like an idiot for not immediately thinking that or realizing that. So immediately when Bayley was taken out and, you know, going into this match, I'm like, okay, well, after I heard that idea, I 100% knew it was going to be Becky Lynch. So, and then, like I said earlier, too, with all the Superstore having the panels for her own poster for WrestleMania hanging out, like, it was very obvious she's coming out to the show. And once, you know, a mystery partner for Lyra was needed, I'm pretty sure it was, like I said, apparent. I mean, it wasn't apparent to me at first because I didn't put much thought into it, but once I heard Becky's name brought up, I was like, oh yeah, that makes perfect sense. And of course, ended up being Becky Lynch. And the match itself was fine. I don't really remember much of it. I know Becky started it, and then, you know, Lyra got the tag, and then they built up for that hot tag for Becky. Becky got the hot tag, put the disarmor on Liv, but then Raquel broke it up. But then Lyra took out Raquel. But then Liv took out Lyra. But then when Liv took out Lyra, she walked right into a manhandle slam from Becky. Becky hits it. 1, 2, 3. Her and Lyra are the brand new WWE Women's Tag Team Champions. I was fine with it. Now, I'll discuss more about it on Raw because obviously they had a rematch. This match had a rematch on Raw. And honestly, how that match played out then is how it should have played out here, in my opinion. Becky and Lyra are new tag team champions. Lyra, 2-belt Lyra for the first time in her career. So, good moment for, I guess, Becky to come back and win the tag team titles with Lyra. But the match itself was fine. I didn't think anything of it, to be perfectly honest. So, yeah, welcome back, Becky Lynch. Then we had Stone Cold Steve Austin come out to make the announcement of the attendance. And, oh, man. First, he comes out and misses the ramp completely. Because me and Audrey see him, like, drive up to the thing. And we're both like, we think he missed the ramp. Like, there's no way for him to get up. He missed the ramp. But then he can't reverse it, so they got to pull him back. He drives up the ramp. He drives around. And, of course, we all know what happened. Stone Cold crashes into the fucking barricade. The woman tries to sell it like she's pissed off. And let's be honest. You watch that clip. He hits it. It takes her like a good solid 2 seconds to sell it. And I think, here's my thing. She's fine. I think she's more pissed off about all the shit that got spilt in front of her. Because I did see the fan cam that from a person that sat in the front row. All the food got fucking just everywhere on the floor in front. So I think she got more pissed off about that than the barricade getting hit. Because she was fine. She looked pissed off at the world, but I think she was pissed off about that. So that's my theory. But Austin comes out, does that, announces another sellout, but this time of 63,226. But you're sold out both nights, but yet this has more seats than the night before. Don't know how that works. I know you can argue they opened more seats, but it's like, well, why didn't you do the same thing than the first night before too then? So, don't know. Total ended up being 124,693 people for both nights. Funny promo, you know, Austin's like, you know what, I'm going to count each person here. And he's like, oh, no, that's too much bullshit. Too many people. I'm not going to do that. It was all around a fun segment. Obviously, Austin was pretty, I don't know if he was fucked up already or what, but it was just funny. It was just all around a fun time and a funny segment, in my opinion. So, yeah, Austin announced the attendance, and then that leads into our main event, which was for the undisputed WWE Championship. Cody Rhodes defending against John Cena. Woo! A lot to talk about for this match. I'll say this. In terms of the match itself, first off, let's talk about the entrance. John Cena coming out to basic-ass font John Cena on the screen. Black everything, nothing else, spotlight. I loved it. I thought it was hilarious to see nothing but just John Cena on the screen. And I thought it looked great. Cody Rhodes with the motocross stuff, I was just confused by that more than anything else. Don't know how that fit with him, but it is what it is. Great entrance still nonetheless. The match, I thought it was fine. I enjoyed it. I thought the match was fairly good. I know when it comes down to it, everyone shit on this match purely for the fucking ending. And I'm not trying to make it sound the match was amazing before it. I thought it was fine. I don't know how it was on TV. Apparently, you can hear Cena calling spots like clearly on the live feed. But I didn't have that problem clearly. But I thought it was good. You know, Cena toying around, then back in the ring, you know, Cena was selling everything pretty finely. Like, he took the Cody cutters just fine. He took the crossroads just fine. You know, hit the attitude adjustment on Cody for a near fall. He even did the freaking leg drop that Cody countered to the powerbomb. I have no idea the last time Cena even tried the leg drop. From my memory, at least. I can't recall last time he even tried it. So to see him bust that out popped me tremendously. But yeah, I thought it was a fine match for what it was. I thought Cena and Cody were having a fine match, not much to it. Some nice near falls. You know, I thought Cena had it with the handful of AAs he had, but Cody kicked out. But then, of course, into the spot where Cena locked in the STF, you know, Cody got to the rope and then Cena dragged him back in the middle of the ring. Cody got to the rope, Cena dragged him back in, but then eventually Cody would, you know, roll back over, kick Cena off right into the referee. The referee's down. What can you do at that point? So obviously everyone knows, all right, someone's coming out. Probably The Rock, right? And then Fiend just starts playing, and Travis Scott makes the slowest fucking run-in of all time. Like, it takes him 2 minutes to get to the fucking ring, right? Like, Undertaker could have got to the ring quicker to run in. So he gets to the ring. Doesn't do shit at first. He's kind of just chilling. The match continues. Cody gets the upper hand, but then Travis takes the referee out again. That leads to him getting in the ring. Him and Cody have a stare down, and he tried to take out Cody, but Cody hits him with a crossroads. Takes out Travis Scott. Travis is done. Cody grabs the belt, tries to hit Cody with it, but Cody stops him. And then he hits, you know, Cena down. He grabs the belt, and then Cena's like, "Oh, please don't, Cody, please, please." And Cody's like, "Ugh, you know, I'm gonna do it. No, I can't do it." You know, like being an idiot. Throws the title down, but when he does that, Cena fucking low blows him. Low blows him. Cena grabs the title, runs, and just boom, clocks Cody with it. Throws the title, gets the referee up, throws him back in. Cena throws back in. Pins the ref, and I'm like, surely this can't be it, right? Surely. 1, 2, 3. When I say I jumped up out of my seat and I screamed, I did just that. I was so thrilled that John Cena won. How it happened did not matter to me. I will 100% admit to it. I said on Twitter that, hey, him winning 100% overclouds everything that happened prior to it. I don't care about the finish. Everyone's saying how terrible a finish it was. People are going as far as say it's one of the worst finishes of all time, which to me, it wasn't that bad. Maybe when I rewatch it, I might have a second opinion on it, but to me, it really wasn't that bad. I'm not saying it wasn't bad. I'm just saying it wasn't that bad, in my opinion. But a lot of people seem to have hated it. But yeah, Cena wins. And, you know, I liked it because I didn't think that was a finish. So, like, I had a genuine reaction to it. If it was, like, obvious, like, oh, he's a fish. Like, if Cena hit, like, 10 AAs in a row, and it was, like, very clear he was getting a 3 count, I would be like, oh, hell, like, obviously he's winning. But I just was like, there's no way it's going to be the finish, is it? Oh, my God, it was! Like, literally, my reaction was very, very happy that John Cena won the 17th World Championship. So John Cena defeats Cody Rhodes. He parties with Travis Scott a little bit. Cena holds the title up. Cena walks out of WrestleMania, 17-time champion. Very happy about that. Like I said, that will always overcloud everything to me. And like I said, overall, I still thought the match itself was fairly good. I thought it was a fine match. I already saw Meltzer's rating for it. He already said it was a terrible match. Like I said, I think people are just taking the finish for it and they're overclouding the entire match for it. I could be wrong. People just could genuinely just dislike the entire match. And like I said, I'm not defending it saying it's an amazing match. I just thought it was fine. I don't think it was anything really to overhate besides the finish. Even that, I don't think the finish was as terrible as people made it out to be. So, I don't know. I was just very, very happy John Cena walked out the brand new undisputed WWE champion. So that was WrestleMania. I gotta say, overall, I thought it was still a damn good show. You know, like I said, the first 3 matches, I thought it was going to be an all-time WrestleMania, and the quality did definitely dip after that, in my opinion. But I still thought Sunday was still a very good show. You know, if I had to rate it out of 10, I'd probably give Night 2 a 7.5 out of 10. You know, maybe a 7.75. Maybe more. Well, I'll stick to 7.5 though. If I had to rate it. But like I said, the first 3 matches were bangers, man. Then the quality kind of dipped. It didn't dip to like a terrible show, but it just, you know, we just had good matches, I felt, following that. And then, like I said, some questionable decisions, mainly how Cena won the championship. But I still don't think it was nearly as terrible as people make it out to be, in my opinion. So, yeah, that was WrestleMania Sunday. Like I said, damn good show. Very happy with the results of everything. And then afterwards, back in front of the stadium, you know, where in the pre-show, where all the trucks and everything are at, that's when I decided, you know what, I'm going to try the Prime truck this time. Because I'm going to see if they have WrestleMania bottles. And they did. They were just handing them out. And when I say people are so fucking pathetic and entitled, like, they are handing them out, right? People, you would think people were swarming it like it was the last water or something. People were, like, shoving, like, they were, like, killing people. To the point where I, like, almost started shoving people just because they were pissing me off. I'm talking, like, big fucking people that are just, like, acting like they're fucking 4-year-olds. Like, it blows my mind. And they're not the only people. Like, it was, like, people, regular grown adults doing the same fucking thing, man. The entitlement people were just, like, it was blowing my mind. To the point where even the people handing them out were, like, yelling, like, hey, I've already gave you one. I'm not going to give you another one. Like, people were just trying to, like, get them to resell, obviously. But I'm like, dude, it's not that serious. And it was just a struggle to get up there just to get one. Audrey was able to get hers as well. She was right behind me, but it were just so crowded. And you had to pretty much shove your way to get out because people were just forcing their way to the front and you couldn't turn around because so many people were just trying to shove their way to the front. It was just ridiculous, man. People all weekend too. I would not just that. Like, I had these 2 fuckers on the monorail where the doors open. You know, me and Audrey were the first 2 people there, and then, you know, people started gathering around, you know, obviously to get on it. And these 2 fuckers, they were just talking like, oh, we got to make sure to rush in, you know, to make sure we don't lose contact. Which, by the way, the monorail we're getting onto was the first operating one, so they came in completely fucking empty. And then, of course, when the doors open, they try to fucking, like, run. But I made sure I stood right in fucking front of him. And I made sure, because he was, like, giving me, like, looks like this on the monorail. And every time I noticed him looking at me, I just gave him a fucking death stare. I'm like, bro, it's not that fucking serious. Like, you don't need to act like this is life or death. It's not that fucking serious. But that's people in today's world. Entitled and fucking impatient pricks, right? But anyways, that's my rant about that. But we got our Prime. And after that, got to see people. I was able to meet up with my good buddy Pico, who I've not seen in 10 years. I met up with him for the very first time at WrestleMania 31 in San Jose, and I have not seen him since. So 10 years in the making. Was able to meet up with him. Was very, very excited to do that. Talked to him for a good little while. Talked about the show. Just talked about life. Just Cup in general. And yeah, it was great seeing him. He has his vlogs up for the weekend, so if you guys want to check those out, definitely go do so. I'll try to put an annotation. I don't even know if YouTube have annotations anymore where you can link people's stuff. If not, I'll put a description below of his vlog, so definitely go check out his channel and his videos. They're definitely worth checking out. I do make an appearance, maybe in more than just one of them. Who knows? Maybe you gotta watch all of them to figure out if I'm in all of them or not. But yeah, definitely check out his stuff if you guys have not. But yeah, we talked to him. Good time talking to Pico. Love seeing him. Great time catching up with him. And one thing, of course, I forgot to mention was that as I was talking with Mike, all of a sudden Dominik Mysterio came flying by in a golf cart. Apparently he hit some girl earlier, but we didn't see that or notice that. But yeah, Dominik went flying by. Pico was able to get some footage of that as he was driving by. But yeah, it was really cool to see Dom, you know, waving that Intercontinental title and newly won championship up in the air as he was just kind of driving by freely in front of everybody in front of Legion Stadium. That took up a good little while. Eventually, you know, we were able to walk off and go our separate ways. You know, he was going to do his thing, then I was going to go do my thing, or me and Audrey were going to do our thing, I should say. He was going to go with his group of people. And yeah, we did that, and then we pretty much just, you know, spent a good night. You know, we went out and got Fat Tuesdays, because I'm a big daiquiri person. I just love the way the drinks are. And then we also got Wahlburger burgers as well on top of it. Wahlburgers is just a great place to go to. You know, I've always liked the Wahlbergs, so to get a Wahlberg's burger was very good. It was very tasty, but you know, that mixed with the Fat Tuesday definitely didn't help my stomach that night. So yeah, that was pretty much WrestleMania Sunday. You know, we just, like I said, had a good time afterwards, and was able to sleep in going to Monday, because we really didn't have anything planned for Monday besides, once again, just go out and just explore, you know, take some pictures and whatnot, and just enjoy Vegas until Monday Night Raw that night, because we honestly didn't have anything planned until that show. We did try to go to the Superstore later that day to see if they had Cena's new shirt, which that thing was just gone everywhere, man. I went to Superstore, there was not a trace of it. I mean, I saw people walking out of it with the shirt on, but there was not a single trace of that shirt in the Superstore. I went to look for it again. And I thought about going to the Legion store, because I was pretty sure they're going to have it there, but I was like, you know what, I'm not going to make that walk all the way to Legion again, just on the possibility that 17-time shirt might be there. Didn't end up doing that. We waited till, because I figured it'd be at Raw, so I'd try to get it at Raw. But we went to Raw, and I saw it in the stands, but as we were in line to get it, the person took it down because they were sold the last one out, so wasn't able to get the Cena shirt, but it is on their website, so it wasn't anything I really missed out on. I was able to order it, and not only did I order the Cena shirt, I also ordered the John Cena Funko Pop, which is only available, I think, to order till May 5th. So I definitely had to snag that. You know, being at WrestleMania this year, I had to get the Cena Pop from this year as well. So yeah, I was able to snag those two things online. But yeah, that leads into Monday Night Raw. We went to Raw, went to our seats, which were great seats. We actually sat behind the stage, but I honestly loved the view. I loved seeing the wrestlers come out right there. I loved seeing the ring from where we're at. One little problem I did have, which I didn't know was going to be the deal, because I had no limited view or anything on my ticket. They had a freaking pole like right at one of the corners of the ring, so it did kind of obstruct my view of one of the corners. But besides that, no complaints from the view of Raw. They were great seats in my opinion. And of course, John Cena opens the show. John Cena comes out, cuts a promo about his the last real champion. You know, just pretty much saying how, hey, I only got X amount of dates left. That's not matches. That's just appearances. I don't got to wrestle on those shows. I just got to show up on those shows. So he lists down all the ones he's already done. Then he's like, you know, we only got X amount. You better hope, you know, I don't lose this title before then. And that's just going on and on. I'm just thinking, I hear voices in my head, because I'm like, someone's going to interrupt them, and it's going to probably be Randy, right? But then what happens out of nowhere? Randy Orton rolls in the ring, and then boom! Hits an RKO on John Cena. So obviously that's going to be the match for Backlash. Going to be very excited for that one. John Cena, Randy Orton, 2025. Say what you want. I'm excited. As someone that grew up with that rivalry, I'm very excited to see that for one last time. So that's going to be one hell of a match, hopefully. And yeah, preceding that, we go into the rematch from WrestleMania Sunday, which was for the WWE Women's Tag Team titles. Becky Lynch and Lyra Valkyria taking on Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez. And okay, I got to be honest. From this moment on, for almost the rest of the show, post-WrestleMania depression was hitting me. This is one of the things Mike told me, because he didn't go to Raw, and he kind of said this for this reason. He's like, you know, Raw is kind of like, you know, depressing moment where you realize like it's the last show, it's before you leave, you know, it's depressing. And at Raw, you know, for some reason, because after the Cena promo, Audrey did go to see if maybe one of the other merch stands had the Cena shirt, and they didn't. And for some reason, I don't know why, like, obviously it's on their website. I ordered it. It was not a big deal. Like, just like the disappointment of not getting the Cena shirt, because, like, I don't know, to me, it was like, it would have been cool to have gotten it the same weekend he won that title, right? Like, it would have been cool to commemorate with the, you know, those two events. For some reason, like, it just, like, the disappointment of not being able to get it, like, that the Mania, post-Mania depression, like, sunk in. Like, it triggered it for some reason. So, like, from this match on until, like, the Gunther stuff, I was kind of just sitting there not really enjoying it. I mean, I was enjoying what was happening, but, like, I really wasn't, like, having a good time. Like, I just wanted to go home at that point. So, and I hate saying it because I know Raw was phenomenal. I know, like, everyone's, like, saying how amazing of a Raw it was. So, like, it really sucks that I really wasn't able to enjoy it, really. So, it was what it was. I'm not going to sit there and be like, oh, everything sucked because I was enjoying it. Like, I was still, like, the women's title match, I thought that was a great match. I thought everything that happened here should have been the WrestleMania match, in my opinion. Not only was the actual match itself a lot more fun, but the angle should have happened in Mania, in my opinion. So, obviously, the finish came where Liv hits the Oblivion on Lyra. She pins Lyra 1, 2, 3. Liv and Raquel are the brand new women's tag team champions. Then afterwards, Becky, being pissed, turns on Lyra and beats her ass. You know, she hits a manhandle slam. The crowd's chanting one more time, one more time. And that's what should happen in WrestleMania, in my opinion. You know, Becky should have came back. Lyra should have took the pin. And then Becky could be like, hey, you ruined my big WrestleMania return. And then beat her ass. It would have made way more sense. But did it on Raw. You know, it is what it is. Obviously, Lyra and Becky for the Intercontinental titles to be the direction for that. But I don't know. I feel like what happened here just should have happened at WrestleMania, in my opinion. But like I said, the match itself was great. This was a great match. All women went there and put on an awesome performance. The crowd was red hot, really into it. The dude next to me was losing his fucking mind during this entire match. But like I said, like just unfortunately, the post-WrestleMania depression was just hitting me. And I really wasn't feeling majority of the show, unfortunately. So yeah, it sucked. But after that, we had Chad Gable come out and cut a promo praising El Grande Americano, saying that he'll be back soon and be back in his winning way. So, yeah, not much to say about that. Then we had New Day coming out to cut a promo, pretty much talking about how they're the greatest tag team and they beat everybody. Leads the Maxine coming out with Alpha Academy, saying how they haven't beat them, saying let's do the tag team title match right now. And before the match happens, Rusev comes out and returns. And I don't even move, man. Like I said, I'm just like in I don't care mode. I don't even get up. Everyone's like going nuts around me. I'm just like, cool. Rusev's back. Comes out and beats down everybody. Puts down, or, you know, New Day runs off and beats down the Alpha Academy. Puts Otis in the Accolade. And, yeah, Rusev's back, man. Definitely can't wait to see if they use him. Io Sky then comes out, cuts a promo, talking about how she's still the women's champion. You know, how she wants to face the best of the best, which leads to Stephanie Vaquer from NXT, the NXT Women's Champion, coming out. Pretty much saying how she respects Io and that, you know, she wants to face the best too. And she challenges Io right then and there. And that leads to a champion versus champion match in the two. And both women, man, put on a hell of a match. This was a phenomenal match. The dude behind me, I don't know if he was like drunk or what, but this dude was like losing his mind for the Stephanie Vaquer spot, obviously, where she traps them between her legs and does the spot. And the dude did the Booker T thing, and I don't watch NXT, so I'm not really too familiar. I know Booker has a reaction to it, but I don't know what it is to the extent. But that dude did the whole reaction, the and I shit you not, after it, he did that for like 10-15 seconds straight. I was like, all right, buddy, you need to calm down there. But he was also complaining about how he missed Rusev's return because he was getting his LA Knights signed photo he really wanted. He's like, I got my LA Knights photo I really wanted, but at what cost? I missed Rusev's return. So, yeah, they had Stephanie Vaquer and Io Sky was awesome, but that ended in DQ because Roxanne Perez came out and attacked Stephanie because they're having a title match in NXT that Tuesday. But then that led to Io, you know, attacking her. And then Julia came out, and then that led to Rhea coming out. Is just, you know, to help even the odds. It just, I don't know. It's one of those things I'm like, did all this really need to happen on this show? Like, especially all these DQs, man. Like, I'm so over all these interference DQ endings for these matches. I feel like I saw so many this trip from SmackDown or to WrestleMania to Raw. Like, I feel like there was so many interferences or DQ finishes. It's just like, do something different, man. But yeah, it was a phenomenal match. It just had to end in a DQ finish, of course. I mean, I wasn't expecting either woman to lose, but why do the match then, you know? Jey Uso comes out to his promo. Everyone goes nuts for Jey Uso. You know, it's a whole Yeet-a-thon. Sami Zayn comes out, makes his return. Cuts a great promo with Jay. Leads to Jimmy coming out. They're all celebrating the ring, and everyone is thinking Sami Zayn is going to turn on Jay. Even the guy behind me that was just doing the Booker T thing, I can hear him screaming, no, please God, no, no, like he's losing his shit, like hoping Sami Zayn doesn't do it. Obviously, Sami Zayn didn't, because they like dragged it out to the point where I'm like, there's no way he doesn't turn on him, right? But he doesn't, thankfully. And yeah, it was pretty much just a celebration. It really didn't lead to anybody coming out and didn't hint towards Jay's next program or anything like that. So don't know what happens going forward, but you know, it was nice to see Jay, Jimmy, and Sammy all have that moment together, I suppose. AJ Styles backstage, Karrion Kross, you know, gives him shit for losing, even though, like, Karrion Kross is kind of the reason he lost in the way, because he wasn't bitching at AJ for, like, 5 minutes. Maybe AJ could have beat him, but it is what it is. It was a fine thing backstage. And then down below, during the commercials, I assume, A-Town Down came out, or A-Town Down Under came out to cut a promo, talking about the Raw Tag Division. Then War Raiders came out and just said, Raw is war, and then they all just disappeared randomly. I don't know why. And then Gunther was at ringside out of nowhere. And then he starts pushing Michael Cole, pushing McAfee. Grabs Michael Cole for the choke. McAfee attacks Gunther. And then Gunther puts McAfee in the choke. And everyone's just cheering for Gunther. Everyone's going fucking nuts for it. Awesome segment, man. Awesome segment. I think they overdid it with the selling afterwards. I felt like they focused on Pat McAfee like choking for like 10 minutes. So I did get kind of annoyed. I'm like, all right, let's just move on already. I don't care to see Pat. I keep calling him Matt. I meant to call him Pat. Pat McAfee. I don't care that he's choking. I get it. He's not dead. He's fine. But yeah, Gunther choked him out. Cole, you know, Cole backstage is like, I'm not gonna stand for his crap. I'm going back out there, even though Pierce is telling him not to. He's like, I'm not gonna go out there. And the crowd starts chanting, Michael Cole. And I will tell you this. That was a moment that snapped me out of my depression. For some reason, that just made me crack up laughing, the chant. And that put me in a good mood. And I was in a good mood for the rest of the show. Granted, this was the end of the show, so it didn't really matter. But I was at least in a good mood for the rest of the show going forward. So, yeah, I just thought the whole thing with Gunther was great. I thought the whole thing with Cole coming out and the crowd chanting Michael Cole was hilarious. And loved it. And then, of course, they announced WWE TakeOver for Perth. I wonder if that's what the pay-per-view is going to be called, too. They announced a PLE, but they didn't say what it was going to be. I thought it was going to be Super Showdown, because that's usually what they've done in Australia, but they just said TakeOver. So I wonder if it will just be WWE TakeOver Perth, or if it's going to be a different event itself. So, and then we lead into the main event match of the night, which was for the Intercontinental Championship. Dirty Dominik Mysterio defending against Penta. The match was good. It was enjoyable. You know, Dominik Mysterio highly over, man. It's crazy how he went from just being booed out of the building not that long ago to being cheered out of the building like crazy, man. It's anytime he was shown on the screen, the crowd went nuts for Dom. He might have been the most over person, honestly, on the show. It was insane how loud of cheering Dom got. But yeah, him and Penta had a good match overall. You know, I thought Penta chasing Dom was gonna be the story when Dom won. So I was surprised to see that this match was happening in the Raw after. And obviously the finish was, you know, the setup for potential rematch in the future. I know Dom's already talked about doing a mask versus title match, or mask versus hair mask for the title. But yeah, came to Penta looked like he was closing the victory, but as he's on the top rope, JD McDonough made his return, pushing Penta off the top, which led to Dom hitting the 619, followed by the splash. 1, 2, 3, Dominik Mysterio still your Intercontinental Champion. So, good match with him and Penta, and hopefully Dom is in for a good reign as Intercontinental Champion. And then we go to our closing segment of the night, which was Paul Heyman and Seth Rollins coming out. And before they even explained anything, CM Punk comes out for the beatdown. Seth Rollins makes quick work of CM Punk, puts him down, seems like it's going off the air, you know, as Paul Heyman's kind of promo. And then out comes Roman Reigns, which I was genuinely surprised by. I thought Roman, after, you know, him taking the pin, was going to be out for a while. I didn't think we'd see him for a good little minute. But Roman comes out and, you know, he beats down Seth Rollins. He's beating that ass on Seth Rollins. Spears Seth Rollins. Turns attention to Paul Heyman. Looks like he's going to take out Paul Heyman. Goes for the spear, but as he hits the rope for the spear, out of nowhere, someone in a black hoodie hits a huge spear on Roman Reigns. And I immediately go, fucking Braun Breaker. Braun Breaker, and none other is it Braun Breaker. Throws his hoodie off. Him and Rollins beat down, you know, Roman. Braun Breaker spears Roman on the outside to the barricade. Just complete utter chaos from both men. They beat down CM Punk. And obviously we got a brand new, you know, alliance going on. We got Paul Heyman with now not only Seth Rollins, but Braun Breaker, and potentially more. Who knows? They're probably going to add at least one more person, I would think. Maybe 2 more people. Who knows? This is just the beginning of it. Very excited to see Braun Breaker with Paul Heyman. I know people are already, you know, hoping they change Braun Breaker's name. I mean, we'll see when we get to that bridge, I guess. But yeah, nonetheless, I was very pleased that segment with the closing segment with Braun Breaker and Paul Heyman and Seth Rollins. I thought that was an excellent way to close the show. And Raw after Mania, you know, like I said, even though I wasn't really able to enjoy the show because I was feeling down about having to leave, it was a damn good Raw, man. It was awesome. I saw everyone saying how amazing it was, better than Mania, best post-Mania Raw in forever. It was a damn good Raw. I just wish I was able to fully enjoy it, you know. But that was on me. Not taking anything away from WWE. They didn't do anything wrong. It was completely on me. But yeah, that was Raw, and that was pretty much the end of things. You know, again, we pretty much took it easy. We had some Gordon Ramsay fish and chips, which were absolutely phenomenal. I absolutely love fish and chips, and those were just like my stomach's getting hungry just thinking about it right now, man. Those are great fish and chips. But got that. had another easy night, and then, you know, settled in because that was our last night until we had to leave in, you know, late morning for Tuesday because we had to drive home that night. And yeah, that was essentially my trip, guys. You know, that was pretty much it. After all, like I said, we got our food, kind of just took an easy rest of the night until, you know, we slept in and had to leave in the morning and went home, and that's how I got where I'm at right now. So that was my entire trip to Vegas, guys. I hope you guys did the video. If you guys did, please feel free to like below. I'm not gonna lie, man, I got the bug to go next year. I know it's in New Orleans. I already been to New Orleans for WrestleMania. I went there for WrestleMania 34, which, you know, next year will be 8 years ago, which is crazy to think, but I'm getting the itch to go. You know, I was looking at this year being my last one, but I know my good buddy Pico already wants to go next year. He's got the urge to go. And, you know, Bourbon Street is always a fun time after the shows too. So it's like, I don't know. Maybe next year I might go to WrestleMania 42, but that's too far to predict right now to say I'll officially go on. But Vegas overall, this was an incredible trip. I honestly had a great time. I said it in my friend Pico's video when he asked me about it. I'd probably rank this number 3 on WrestleMania trips. I'm always gonna go. I think 1 and 39 are always gonna like go back and forth at 1 and 2 in my opinion. Like it's always been one of those two. I always had a great time with those two as equal. But this one, it might be even rivaling this. It might be you know, a tie for first, a 3-way tie for first. I don't know. This was an incredible trip, man. There really wasn't any hiccups. Not saying that any of my trips had many hiccups at all, but this was just, everything was just a lot of fun, a lot of, you know, good to run into Mike. It was nice seeing you, buddy, and definitely was a great time, and definitely one hell of a trip. Like I said before, I hope you guys did the video. If you guys did, please feel free to like below, and of course, on next time, I'll see you guys, and thank you guys for watching the video.